Huawei has proven they can make great phones with various devices like the Nexus 6P, so with the Mate 9 out in the US, people are expecting something great. Has Huawei lived up to the challenge? I'm Andrew with YourTechExplained, and this is the Huawei Mate 9 review. There are a ton of things to love about the Mate 9. The Chinese manufacturer has definitely done well in creating a cheaper alternative to the Google's Pixel that actually comes close in performance. One of the most important parts of the phone is the hardware. The Mate 9 is just beautiful. The all-metal build looks and feels really solid. The finish on all sides of the device is just all-around gorgeous. The top of the phone houses an audio jack, which obviously isn't anything special, but a comfort to see nonetheless. The bottom houses the USB Type-C port and a bottom-facing speaker, which isn't what most people want, so Huawei did something interesting. They made the earpiece into a speaker as well, just like Apple's iPhone 7. And moving on, the volume rockers are on the right side along with the power button, and both are nice and tactile. The fingerprint sensor is something special though. It's on the back, much like Huawei's other phones, and it's fast. It's surprisingly fast. So fast that you barely have to touch the sensor at all for it to be read successfully. More than 90% of the time, the sensor will read your finger successfully and accurately. This is, in my opinion, one of the best fingerprint sensors to date. The display comes in around 5.9 inches, which seems pretty unbearably big, but with the side bezels being so thin, using the huge screen the Mate 9 packs is pretty easy. Now, the Mate 9 isn't QHD like most current phones, but it is 1080p. Having a 1080p display isn't bad at all really, because it helps boost battery life, which is fantastic on the Mate 9. You'll never really notice that the display is 1080p unless you're reading text where everything isn't as crisp as it would be on a QHD display. Overall, the color and quality of the display is still quite beautiful. Software is pretty heavy on the Mate 9. You can change things up a bit by downloading a launcher like Action Launcher or Google Launcher just to get it to feel like a stock Android device. Since I changed everything a bit, I enjoy using the Mate 9 a lot more because it lets me focus on the performance that this thing can get. Even if you don't add a launcher, EMUI 5.0 is still a decent skin, much better than previous versions of Huawei's take on Android. The Mate 9 has 4GB of RAM and 64GB of storage. With the 4GB of RAM, you can get a lot done, especially with the Mate 9. Over time, the Mate 9 learns how you use your phone and then makes small adjustments so performance can best suit you. Not to mention, this is all controlled by Huawei's own Kirin 960. Storage is also expandable via microSD card, which is a good thing to keep in mind. Over my time using the phone, I've noticed no slowdown at all, although I didn't notice any speeding up either. Overall, the Mate 9 runs really well and haven't had any big issues to date. It's probably safe to say that the Mate 9 is a beast when it comes to performance in general. Speaking of, the camera's performance is pretty good as well. The rear-facing camera is the one I've tested the most and really relied on. I'd go so far as to say that if I had the option, I would choose the Mate 9 camera over the V20 camera if I had both with me. There's just a certain crispness to the Leica branded dual camera on the Mate 9. The dual cameras work like this. One takes a monochrome photo, while the other takes a full color photo. These combine to enhance detail in one picture. Overall, I'd say it worked out really nicely. Interestingly enough, I think that where the Mate 9 is the strongest is in video mode. Once I found out the stabilization was really good, I kept taking videos. Detail was also pretty much on point when it came to videos as well. The last thing to mention is battery life. Huawei nailed the battery life. It lasts for at least a day, ending with no less than 30 to 40%. I used the Mate 9 heavily during CES 2017, and I didn't get close to dying once. The 4000 mAh battery did an amazing job, and I fell in love with it. Huawei also includes a charging brick that supports supercharging, which they claim you can get 60% of your battery capacity in only 30 minutes. Giving the Mate 9 an incredible battery definitely makes it a great phone to look into. With everything considered, the Mate 9 is an amazing phone. While it's not top tier, it holds its own against some other giants. The Mate 9 will run you about $599, which isn't the cheapest by any means, but it's something to consider. Since you can change the software experience to your liking, the Mate 9 is one of the best phones I've played around with this year. That is, considering it's only February. So we hope you enjoyed this review, and please like and subscribe so we can give you more content like this weekly. We'll see you next time on Your Tech Explained.